So, pinakamamahal naming mga fellow Rotarians, Rotaractors and Friends of Rotary, welcome to our vote, District 3830's Advocacy for Voters Education. So, our votes, first of the many series of sponsored joint club meetings to help educate our voters to register and exercise their right to vote in the May 2022 national elections. So we are truly grateful to everyone for joining us in these joint club meetings. And we would like to start with our program so we can make use of these 2 hours or so of our time to be fruitful and enlightening to all of us. So let us sit back and relax and help us run this meeting within the allotted time. Okay? So now, may I request life-changing President Cory Navarro of the Rotary Club of Makati EDSA to call this joint meeting to order in behalf of all the host clubs. LCP Cory.
Yes, in behalf of the 37 club presidents hosting this RVOTE event, I hereby call this meeting to order.
Thank you, LCP Cory. Now, let us please feel the presence of our divine Almighty and bow our heads as we listen to life-changing President Emmy Pulido of the Rotary Club of Makati Bel Air to lead us in the invocation. Immediately after this will be followed by our singing of the Philippine National Anthem to show our respect and honor to our country. LCP Emmy?
Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Bob. Yeah. Let's sing this before I pray. Yes, Lord. Father God, that is our prayer for this afternoon. May you heal our land, oh Lord. That prayer song, Lord, is based on your Second Chronicles 7, verse 14, that you said, if your people will just humble and pray, then you'd heal our land. So God, we need you. We need you to be with us on all our candidates for this election. May you intervene, God. May all your people see you as we choose, as we do our roles as citizens of the land. So we lift you this event today, God, for your blessing. Everyone, Lord, we lift everything to you. And all this we pray in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God.
Mayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, hanap ng puso, sa dibdib ko'y buhay, lulupang hirap, tulad ka ng mag-ibig, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisipig sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw. May dilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang gisag ng watawat mo'y nagumpay na nagtitingin, ang bituin at araw ng tuloy, kung may magdidilig, lupa ng araw ng walhating pagsikla, buhay langit sa piling mo, ang ligaya ng pag may nangaangin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Thank you very much, LCPME, for that beautiful prayer. And now, to recognize our dignitaries and guests, as well as the host clubs who helped launch this stimulating afternoon meeting, let us watch this video.
We stand for truth and fairness, integrity within us shines for all to see. We bring goodwill and friendships. We are one in service and from unity.
We work differently,
We see differently.
challenges will face us with our strengths combined. Act responsibly,
Together we will make a difference in our city.
we serve to change lives, we serve to change lives. We're people of action, committed you and me. We serve to change lives, we serve to change lives, united in service to our global family.
The impact we bring is lasting.
Inspiring future champions and leaders to be.
Researching new ways of helping.
The world around us will never be the same.
We work differently.
We see differently.
Resilience shall strengthen our ability. We think differently.
Act responsibly. We embrace the future as we honor the past. We serve to change lives. We serve to change lives. We're people of action, committed family. We serve to change lives. We serve to change lives. United in service to our global family. We serve to change lives. We're people of action, committed you and me. We serve to change lives. We serve to change lives. A change for the better. We are Rotary.
Okay. Thank you very much for that very nice acknowledgement video. Hopefully, we did not miss anybody, but in case we missed those that have not pre-registered, we will duly recognize you later sometime, somewhere in the program. So again, please accept our thanks for sharing us your valuable time to attend this joint club meeting. The program today hosted by, I understand, 37 Rotary clubs in 3830 is first of the RVOTE series of events organized by the Rotary Club Makati Bel Air for and behalf of our RI District 3830. Today's main topic delves on peace and conflict prevention and resolution, as well as youth empowerment. And aside from the opportunity to know more about our speaker, how capable, competent, and admirable his character is, and he will be properly introduced later, we expect him to share with us his experience, know-how, and insights how he can help respond to resolve one of the crucial concerns of what the country is facing now, which is peace and conflict prevention. And these matters are also aligned with the Rotary International's area of focus. So, at this point, ating pong panoorin at pakinggan ang maramdaming awiting ginawa ni Ginoong Louis Ocampo para sa panawagan ng isang tapat, kabotohan, or honest elections. Let's watch and listen to this video. Sana naman taong bayan.
Panahon na ng pagpili. Panahon na.
Ma'am, can you increase the audio, please?
Madami namang kandidato, madaming mukha at pangalan.
Sino kaya ang bagay sa ating bansa? Hindi lamang forma at salita. Sino o sino kaya? At sana kahit na sinong manalo, pagkatapos ng bilangan, sana naman ang panalo ay taong bayan.
Sino kayang mananalo at magiging totoo?
Sa pagnanais ng taong umulat sa madaling panahon. Sino man siya, pag-asa kaya ang dala. Sana naman, sana siya'y hindi tapat sa bansa.
At sana kahit na sino manalo, pagkatapos ng bilangan, sana naman ang panalo ay taong bayan. La 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 sana naman isipin ang kapakanan ng mga mamamayan, maging gabay sa lipunan. At sana kahit na sino manalo, pagkatapos ng bilangan, sana naman ang panalo ay taong bayan. Sana naman ang panalo ay taong bayan.
Yes. Matapos ang bilangan, sana naman ang panalo ay ang taong bayan. Na yung kanilang binoto ay mabilang ng tama. So at this point, we are very pleased to now hear from our life-changing Governor, Georgie Tan, as she delivers her message. Audio, please, Sam. We cannot hear.
109 life-changing presidents. Governor Georgie Tan's determination to face the challenges of this Rotary year as she leads her 109 life-changing presidents has served as an inspiration to Rotarians of District 3830. She considers these challenges as opportunities to deliver meaningful, relevant, and timely service alongside the kind-hearted Rotarian volunteers around her. Governor Jocelyn Georgie Tan is an epitome of a true and committed Rotarian. Her love for Rotary started when she joined the Rotary Club of Makati Dasmariñas 26 years ago, and she deepened her commitment to serve when she became president during the centenary of the Rotary movement in 2004 and was recognized as the outstanding president that year. Thereafter, the district gained a promising servant leader as she engaged in higher roles in Rotary, a multi-awardee, and to name a few, she was recipient of the Most Outstanding International Service Award. She was given honors and commendation by past Rotary International President Matt Cavaras and was awarded by Rotary International President Gray Klinging-Smith with Avenues of Service citation for individual Rotarians. Governor Georgie has a soft heart for the youth and women. Her 16 years involvement in projects like feeding programs for malnutrition children and their mothers are her major advocacies. In her early years, she developed special interest in the sciences that led her to pursue dentistry and join the faculty of the University of the Philippines College of Dentistry as a senior lecturer for 13 years. Our orthodontist governor is determined to help address the dire state of oral public health in our country. The loving past President Conrad Manal, a veteran and a professional journalist, plays a tangible role as he supports Governor Georgie in carrying out her governor duties. Governor Georgie's vision for this Rotary year is to make it a milestone year. And with a dedicated team of officers, along with her energized president, Governor Georgie's leadership will definitely achieve a meaningful, life-changing year for District 3830. To inspire us more, we now welcome our District Governor, Jocelyn Georgie Tan.
Thank you, Past President Rachel Ocampo, for that very kind and wonderful introduction. Our honored speaker, who shall be properly introduced later on, we have with us immediate past District Governor Tony P. Parungao from District 3800, the RVOTE Committee Chair, past President Nenette Aseñero, and the Rotary Club of Makati Bel Air, led by life-changing President Emmy Pulido, and the 35 other co-host clubs of this event. I'd like to just name them. Rotary Clubs of Alabang, Alabang Center Point, Alabang Daang Hari, Alabang Lampara, Alabang Madrigal Business Park, Alabang North, Circuit Makati, Forbes Park, Las Piñas West, Makati, Makati Ayala Amity, Makati Ayala Triangle, Makati Bonifacio, Makati Business District, Makati Dasmariñas, Makati EDSA, Makati F. Zobel, Makati GEMS, HV de la Costa, Makati Greenbelt, Makati Nielsen, Makati Premier District, Makati Salcedo, Makati Southwest, Muntinlupa Business District, Nara Central, Parañaque, Parañaque Merville, Parañaque Metro, Parañaque Metro South, Parañaque St. Andrew, Parañaque Southwest, Puerto Princesa Central, and Makati San Nicolas. Fellow Rotarians, guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Today, as we hold this first in the series of talks on voter education, may I offer for your pondering one quotable quote. Try being informed instead of just being opinionated. It is a pity that nobody knows who wrote those words. The writer is Mr. Anonymous. And yet, they are really thought-provoking words. I run it by you again. Try being informed instead of just being opinionated. At least, to me, they are thought-provoking words. Indeed, they goad us to do some work, to try to understand things, to be informed. Yes, in effect, they command us to read up, to study, and perhaps even to reflect on issues that affect our lives today as Filipinos. Doing so requires effort. Be informed. It is our duty as citizens. And so today, we endeavor to learn some things from a renowned lawyer who will tell us things that may or may not conform with our biases, political leanings, or deep convictions. But it's cool, as the youth of today would say. It is cool because that is what Rotary is all about. As Rotarians, we generally think of ourselves as a service organization, period. We thus want people from all political persuasions to join us and help us do good. Together, we become friends, no matter our political color. This is in fact the beauty of Rotary. We are politically colorblind. At the same time, as Rotarians, we have to work with some government agencies almost all the time, if indeed we want to do some serious humanitarian projects. May I point you to the biggest district project so far, the bamboo planting in the Marikina watershed, which we are pursuing in collaboration with a number of governmental entities, including LGUs. While Rotary prides itself as being a non-political and a non-religious movement, we still have to work with government agencies and religious groups. It is unavoidable in this world of cooperation. As they say, it takes a village to raise a child. I don't know about you, but I prefer to work with government officials who know what they are doing and who want to do it with a sense of mission and responsibility. Add in the most important ingredient, integrity. It is a rather rare quality in people nowadays, according to highly opinionated individuals. Anyway, levity aside, in Rotary, we hear stories every day from members of the different clubs in our district about Rotarians going out and about in community despite the pandemic, perhaps if only to provide meals to people stranded in the streets. With all the restrictions in this time of COVID-19, Rotarians in our district still try to work with people to build their own homes, or they still try help people find work, or they still provide free healthcare to the sick, or they donate gadgets to students to help them in this remedy we know as distance learning. If Rotarians are passionate about improving their communities, it is not Is it not also what governments all over the world should be all about? To better the lives of people? The involvement of Rotary District 3830 in the upcoming elections is simple enough. We just want to help in voter education. Our advocacy focuses on information because an informed public makes better choices. Now, for many of us, just to make the right decision may be difficult because of the cacophony of propaganda from all sides in the political battle. Everyday media bombards us with loud noises about various political personalities, and the attack comes from both traditional media and social media. It is difficult enough to sift through the political discussions, but it is our obligation as Rotarians who are still citizens of this country to be discerning citizens. This series of talks hopefully can help us be more informed than opinionated. With that, allow me to open the floodgates of Rotarian voter information moving forward. Thank you.
Wow, wow. It's a great speech. So thank you very much, life-changing Governor Georgie Tan, my classmate, my idol. Please, another round of applause to our District Governor Georgie Tan for that very inspiring and very insightful message. Okay, so thank you very much. Now, moving on to the most awaited portion of the program. Please welcome our District Legal Counsel and one of the stalwarts of our vote, Past President Rafi Aquino of the Rotary Club Makati Bel Air to introduce our guest speaker. If Rafi.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat.
Magandang hapon.
Chel Diokno majored in philosophy in UP Diliman. He studied law in the Northern Illinois University College of Law, was consistently in the Dean's List, a member of the school's law review, and graduated magna cum laude. He also briefly interned with the Office of the Appellate Defender for the state of Illinois. Chel was admitted to the Illinois State Bar in 1986, came back home, took the bar exams here, and was admitted to the Philippine Bar in 1988. He is chairperson of the Free Legal Assistance Group, or FLAG, one of Asia's oldest and biggest human rights lawyers group. He is the founding dean of De La Salle University's College of Law and was the advisor on human rights to the president of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines. He served as general counsel of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee and more recently in the committee commissioned by the Supreme Court to revise the rules of civil procedure. He is an author of law books. As a young lawyer, Chel had already paid his dues as litigator. He won millions in damages for the families of the victims of the 1987 MV Doña Paz disaster, where 4,386 people died. Not counting the thousands of oppressed and exploited Filipinos that were FLAG's clients through the years, including the families of the victims of the government's murderous war on drugs, Attorney Chel's free legal help desk on Facebook has helped more than 14,000 people. As FLAG leader, Chel has secured writs of amparo for those threatened with abduction or torture by agents of the state, and writs of kalikasan to protect the fragile ecosystems in Panganiban Reef and Ayungin and Panatag shoals in the West Philippine Sea. Chel is a friend and fellow traveler. I was in Chel's campaign committee when he ran for the Senate in 2019, where he ended among the top-ranking candidates among youthful voters. In 2020, I joined him again in the Executive Committee of Volunteers and Lawyers Organized for the Rule of Law, or Valor 19, a free online legal inquiry center suggested to Chel by Vice President Lenny Robredo. By the time Valor 19 went off air, it had reached over 470,000 Filipinos, answering their urgent questions brought about by the pandemic and government's lockdown-centric response to it. This year, Chel and I were in the flag team in the legal struggle before the Supreme Court against the anti-terrorism law. He was lead counsel and oralist. But Chel's life is not all about great and serious causes. He played varsity basketball in LaSalle Green Hills, is an Aikido black belt, and TikTok sensation. He is a plantito and cooks in shorts and old t-shirts, sometimes on TikTok. And in the midst of all this, he has remained a devoted father to his 6 children and countless children. Chel comes from a family whose name is closely intertwined with our history as a nation. His father is Jose Wright Diokno, Justice Secretary and Senator, implacable foe of the Marcos dictatorship and martial law, and the founding chair of the Commission on Human Rights. His grandfather is Ramon Diokno, also a senator and Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. His great-grandfather is General Ananias Diokno of Batangas, who served in the Revolutionary Army against Spain and the United States. Marahil, mga kaibigan, ay naaalala pa ninyo noong nilait at kinutya si Chel ni Presidente Duterte. Sobrang laki daw ng mga ngipin niya. Pero okay lang ito. Mga kaibigan, ang ngipin ng batas, si Attorney Jose Manuel Chel Diokno.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Governor Jocelyn Joji Tan of District 3830, our moderator, Harold Dacumos, Karen Abanilla, Cory Navarro, Emmy Pulido, Rachel Ocampo, Rafi Aquino, thank you my friend for that wonderful introduction, Santi Dapul, Len Balolong, Jack Chiotico, Tonipi Parungaw, and to all the members and officers of the Rotary Clubs in the cities of Makati, Taguig, Alabang Muntinlupa, Las Piñas, Parañaque, Taguig Pateros, Rizal, and Palawan. And a special shout out to the Rotary Club of Makati Bel Air for spearheading this series of events. Maraming salamat sa inyong paanyaya at I'm really thankful that you have invited me to share my views and to introduce myself to all of you. Siguro magpapakilala muna ako. Ako po si Attorney Chel Diokno, isang abogado, isang guro at isang ama, chairman ng Free Legal Assistance Group at 30 taon na pong nagbibigay ng libreng serbisyong legal sa mga nangangailangan. Pero tulad na nabanggit ni Rafi, ay baka mas kilala nyo yung ngipin ko. Actually, okay lang naman sa akin yon kasi ang nangyayari ay tuwing pinag-uusapan ko yung mga issue ng ating bayan, ay pinupunan nila yung ngipin ko. I really don't mind. Maliit lang naman na bagay yon. Pero sa tingin ko, kung pag-uusapan nila yon, dapat pag-usapan din natin yung mga malalaking issue. Yung issue tungkol sa mga bungi at ang mga bulok sa ating minamahal na inang bayan. Marami actually ang nag-step up during this pandemic. Marami ang sumagot sa hamon ng pandemya. We have our medical frontliners, pati buhay nila, itinaya nila para sa atin. Nandyan yung ating mga magsasaka, yung ating mga mangingisda, yung ating mga transporter, yung mga supplier na nanigurado na aabot sa ating mga lamesa ang kailangan natin pagkain at iba't ibang mga supplies. Nandyan ang mga kabataan, ang mga ordinaryong Pilipino at pati ang mga Rotary Club na tumulong sa mga frontliners natin at sa lahat ng mga nawalan ng trabaho, mga bumagsak na negosyo at talagang nagugutom dito sa ilalim nitong pandemya. And to all of you, talagang saludong-saludo ako sa inyo. Pinakita ninyo yung pagkabayanihan ng Pilipino at pinakita din ninyo yung pagkabayani ng ordinaryong Pilipino. Pero dito sa pandemya, meron din tayong nakitang, sabihin na lang natin, pandemic injustice. Mga inhustisya na pang-araw-araw na sa tingin natin ay hindi naman tama. Nandyan halimbawa yung nangyayaring unemployment sa karamihan ng ating workforce, and it's the youth that have been badly affected because according to the data, the youth unemployment is about 3 times the national average. Nandyan din yung challenges and issues concerning remote learning or online learning kasi alam naman natin na hindi kaya ng lahat ng ating mga mag-aaral na ma-access ang internet. Nandyan din yung mga delay sa pagbibigay ng mga benepisyo ng ating frontliners na sila na dapat ang naunang maging prioridad ng ating pamahalaan. Meron pa rin hanggang ngayon hindi pa nakakatanggap ng mga benefits that are already allocated and provided by law. Nandyan din yung lumitaw na issue na nagagamit pala yung pera ng bayan para bumili ng mga tila mukhang mga overpriced na mga medical supplies at mukhang questionable pati ang kanilang kalidad. And palagay ko, isang bagay na kailangan natin gawin ay ituwid itong mga inhustisya na nakita natin sa ilalim ng pandemya. May dagdag ko lang, meron din yung phenomenon na halos kalahating milyong Pilipino ang nakulong dahil sa paglabag ng quarantine violations. May isa kaming na-monitor na kaso, tatay siya, lumabas lang siya ng kanyang bahay dahil gutom yung kanyang mga anak, hindi niya namalayan, curfew na pala, nahuli siya, wala siyang pambayad ng piyansa, umabot ng 37 days siya nakulong bago siya nakahalaya at nakabalik sa kanyang pamilya. At sa tingin ko, lahat ng mga bagay na ito ay hindi makatao at hindi makatarungan. Kaya ang unang-una natin dapat gagawin, at ito ay panawagan ko rin, kung sino man ang magiging susunod na administrasyon, ay itutuwid natin ang inhustisya na nakikita natin dito sa pandemya. Tingin ko, isa lang naman talaga ang susi para maayos natin itong pamamahala sa pandemic. And that is, we need to really up our vaccination rates. Hindi tayo makakapagbalik eskwela, yung ating mga kabataan, hanggat ligtas siya. At hindi naman magiging safe yan kung mababa pa rin ang ating vaccination rates. Right now, I believe we are in the area of something like 25% only. And that's why we are among the last, if not the last countries to go back to school. Other countries have managed to really accelerate their vaccination rates, and that is why they have been able to bring their children to school. But hindi lang yun. Kasi pati yung sa pagbubukas ng ating ekonomiya, pati sa pagtutulong natin sa mga negosyong bumagsak, ay kailangan natin na mabuksan, maayos itong vaccination rate para mabuksan yung ating economy. That is part of correcting the pandemic injustice that we have seen. Plus, I do truly believe we need to provide fiscal stimulus to our MSMEs. Our MSMEs employ more than 64% or around 64% of our workforce. Pag sila ay natatamaan, pag sila ay bumabagsak, ang talagang naapektuhan ang mga manggagawa natin at kanilang mga pamilya. Kailangan nila ng suporta galing sa ating pamahalaan. Plus, I believe we have to change our entire approach to managing the pandemic. Managing the pandemic is a question not of armed force. Wala naman tayong kalaban na armado dyan. Ang kalaban natin ay isang virus. Kaya kailangan scientific evidence and technology-based ang ating approach sa pandemyang ito. Pero wala akong nakikitang representation at mukhang hindi pinakikinggan ang boses ng IT experts natin at ng mga science experts natin na sila ang pinakamagagaling sa buong mundo at bakit parang hindi sila pinakikinggan ng ating pamahalaan. Plus, we need to have better private sector representation in the task force that is managing the pandemic. Kaya sa tingin ko, yung unang kailangan maging prioridad ng papalit na administrasyon, itong mga bagay sa inhustisya dito sa ilalim ng pandemya na ang naapektuhan, karamihan ng naapektuhan ay mga kabataan natin when it comes to their education, when it comes to unemployment, and even when it comes to the issues of mental health na tila parang naset aside dahil ang naging focus ng ating mga health agencies ay physical health at hindi naman gaanong pinag-aralan o binigyan ng atensyon ang ating mental health ng ating kabataan. But even more than that, pag naayos natin itong inhustisya sa ating pandemya, kailangan din natin maayos yung peaceful conflict resolution at yung mismong sistema ng hustisya dito sa atin. Part of the peaceful conflict resolution in our country requires that we must strengthen the barangay justice system para hindi na umabot ang mga kaso sa korte. We need to empower those who are in the pangkat tagapagkasundo and those who are in the lupon tagapamayapa. Kasi sila talaga yung nagme-mediate at nagsesettle kung kaya ng mga away ng magkapitbahay, magkabarangay o magkasyudad. Maliban pa doon ay kailangan natin ayusin yung ating court system. Sobrang bagal ng paglilitis ng kaso, maraming issue pagdating sa transparency, accountability, and corruption. Kaya ang isa kong gustong isulong ay ilabas na natin sa court system ang mga kaso ng business, yung mga pera-pera lang na kaso. Let's move it to arbitration, just like we are doing with the construction industry. Kung magawa po natin yan, bibilis ang kaso sa ating mga korte. Hindi na magiging source of temptation yung pera-pera case sa mga judge. At yung mga negosyo naman na nagkakaroon ng mga away o gulo, mabilis malilitis ang mga kaso nila. Dahil ang arbitration, mabilis at walang question sa prejudice o bias ng judge. Dahil ang mga magkakaaway na panig, sila na mismo ang mamimili kung sino ang gagawin nilang judge. At isa lang ang appeal, diretso na sa court, sa Supreme Court. So these are among the things that I truly believe our country needs if we want to have sustainable development. Sa akin kasi, it's the certainty, if you talk about criminal syndicates, if you talk about corruption, it's the certainty of punishment that stops corrupt and criminal organized crime. And that certainty we have not felt in our country for a long, long time. At syempre, hindi rin tayo papayag na gagamitin ang batas para mang-api at mang-abuso. Kung tutusin, simple lang naman yung pangarap natin bilang mga Pilipino. Ang gusto lang naman natin ay may sapat tayong pagkain sa lamesa. Ang gusto natin ay maayos at disente yung ating kabuhayan, yung ating mga trabaho. At ang gusto natin ay talagang yung tinatawag natin na meron tayong quality of life. Pero para umabot tayo doon, kailangan may kagat ang hustisya. Kailangan may ngipin ang batas. Kaya ako po ay handang-handa na maging ngipin ng batas. Ako po ay handang-handa na manindi sa ating lahat ng mga Pilipino, lalong-lalo na ang mga nangailangan, ang mga nasa nahihirapan dito sa ilalim nitong pandemya. Again, maraming salamat sa Rotary Clubs of all the cities I have acknowledged. Thank you to everyone and good day.
Wow, maraming salamat po ang ating ngipin ng batas. Kagalang-galang na Chel, Diokno. At ako po'y naniniwala sa lahat ng inyong sinabi. At sana ay we will be able to see moving forward the realization of all these very good innovations, if I may, as well as some radical changes in the justice system. No? Now, before we call on the panelists, okay, again, we like to express our sincere thanks and appreciation knowing your platform to address the complex and very difficult issues of peace and conflict resolution, as well as the empowerment of our youth. So before we proceed with the open forum, may we take this opportunity, if it is okay with you, sir, to have a gallery photo ops. Everybody, please try open your camera, please, so that you will be included. Sam, can you please help us out? Let's have the photo ops with our guest speaker, Attorney Chel Diokno, and our District Governor Georgita.
Okay, slide number 1.
Please remain smiling.
Window number 2. Number 3. Number 4. 5. Last window. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So we now call on the panelists for the open forum. So may I ask everyone now to pose your questions, to our guest speaker, Attorney Chel Diokno. Before that, LCP Karen, can you also please help me so that the panelists will have time to prepare and shout out to recognize Rotarians, dignitaries, and guests who were not duly acknowledged earlier. LPC Karen.
Yes, we have in the room some district officers. We have PP Rochelle Nolasco. We have PP Maybell Esteban. We have.
I saw also earlier PP Tanya Lumanlan of Rotary Club Makati Bel Air. And Angelica Castro. Okay. So we will again try to recognize you. So without much ado, may I now call on LCP Len Palolong, LCP Louis Asioche, and do we have also LCP Santi, PP Santi Dapul, who will now start to grill, quote unquote, our guest speaker, for the questions and answer section or segment of this joint meeting. Your floor is yours.
Hello.
Thank you very much, PP Harold.
Good afternoon, Attorney Diokno.
Magandang
Good
hapon po,
afternoon.
Attorney Chel.
Hello. Magandang hapon.
Salamat po sa inyong magandang talumpati ngayong hapon na ito. Ano? So ladies first na ba ito, LCP Louis and PP Santi?
Sige, go ahead.
So pasanang iba to yung unang tanong kasi meron akong na-capture na gusto kong sinabi nyo ngayong hapon, Attorney Chel, ano? Kasi ang tema po natin ngayong hapon ay peace, justice, and youth, no? So Attorney Chel, itong pandemic nga, no, we have been witness to a number of alleged violation of human rights, youth rights, ano, not to mention a number of social injustice, which actually widen the gaps between classes, ano, sino makakakuha ng privilege, sinong hindi, ano? Hindi lang po ito para sa health. Andito rin nadama namin yung ako kasi nasa education sector, no, damang-dama namin yung wide and privilege in education, access sa pagkain, access sa trabaho, and more. So if you're gonna be elected as a senator, no, I'm really curious of what specific legislative initiative will help prevent these things from happening again. Kunwari, meron na naman tayong public health emergency, o kaya kahit wala po tayong public health emergency, ano, paano po kaya ang magandang legislative initiative dito, Attorney Chel?
As I mentioned earlier, one of the things I'd like to look into is the composition of the IATF and the creation of a much broader and evidence science and technology-based group that will manage the pandemic. Ang IATF kasi ay creation niya ng executive order ni dating Pangulong Pinoy Aquino. Sana maiayos na lang natin yan at maisabatas na natin yan. And I hope that it can be more science-based and technology-driven. As well, I do believe we should have private sector representation there. It's a bit sad not to think that despite the 2 years that we've had in a lockdown, hindi pa rin natin na-systematize yung issues ng contact tracing, hindi pa rin natin na ayos yung ating testing and even the issues of treatment, which really are issues of medicine and science and technology. If we could just marry these three disciplines and get them all working together, I believe we could really be in a much better place even now. As far as getting back on our feet and making sure we move forward to a new normal, as they say, sa akin talagang susi dyan yung vaccination rollout natin, which is exceedingly slow. Para na rin siyang justice system natin kung ikukumpara natin. Kailangan maayos natin ang rollout. It may not require legislation, but I believe it will require at least some kind of investigation by the proper authorities to find out why is it so slow and what can we do to make it faster. Because we cannot kickstart the economy, we cannot really go back to school even, unless we are safe, and that requires that we have a high vaccination rate, among other things. Thank you.
Everybody, no? Everybody should be safe. No? So everybody's talking about boosters and having their boosters, eh meron pang ang iba, hindi pa nakakaunang shot. Salamat po sa sagot niyo, Attorney Chel. So partners, CM Louie or PP Santi, baka may tanong din kaya.
Sige. Age muna bago beauty, Louie.
Okay, sige. Go ahead. Santi.
Masyado tayong seryoso kasi hindi naman nangangagat si Attorney Chel. So, dapat hindi tayo masyadong serious at magtanong tayo ng lahat ng niloloob natin.
Ilang daw tayo.
Okay. Ang una kong tanong, Attorney Chel, nabanggit ni Attorney Rafi na ang roots mo pala, ang iyo palang lolo ay Batanggenyo. Tama ba yun, Attorney Chel?
Yes, yes.
Naging justice ng Supreme Court.
Yung lolo ko po.
Yes. Tapos ang tatay mo naman, naging Senate President ba o Senador ng Republika?
Senador lang naman po.
Senador. Ang pangalang Diokno, from my understanding, doon, taga Batangas din kasi ako, Attorney Chel mga mayayabang yan at matatapang. Bakit ikaw hindi ka mayabang? Bakit ikaw mahinahon? And the last question related to that is, bakit pinili mo itong advocacy of helping the poor, human rights? Sa totoo lang, yun ang tinatawag sa law practice na hindi sexy. Hindi sikat. So ngayon, related to your candidacy as a senator, anong magiging parang battle cry mo para mas madami ang maniwala na dapat kang maging senador ng Pilipinas?
Well, thank you for those questions. Siguro nasa pangalan ko yon, kaya medyo mas laid back ako compared sa aking tatay at lolo. Nasa Chel kasi, kaya medyo chill tayo. It's just part of my personality. That's how I've been ever since. ang background ko, tulad na nabanggit ni Rafi, ay trial lawyer ako. I go to the court. I used to go to court almost every day. At doon, hindi ka pwedeng hyper. Kailangan relax ka. You have to be the calm at the center of a storm. Kasi so many things are happening in a trial, and if you also get too excited, hindi mo na magagawa yung trabaho mo. Kaya naging parang bahagi na ng personalidad ko yon, pagiging chill at pagiging relaxed. Ngayon, you were also asking about why I got involved in human rights work. Well, malaking bagay dyan yung aking ama. Talagang naging role model ko siya. 11 years old ako. Anak ako ng martial law. 11 years old ako nung dineklara martial law at hinuli siya. I was 13 when my father was released from jail. And even at that young age, I had already decided that I would become a lawyer. I don't know why, basta decision ko na yon. Kaya tuwing lalabas ang dad ko, pupunta siya ng court, ako sumasama sa kanya, papaalam ako, pwede ba akong sumama? I would carry his bag and I would really watch them in court. Doon ko talagang naging inspirasyon yung pakikipaglaban para sa mga kapatid natin na walang boses. Kasi ganun na ganun yung dad ko and the others who were among the first to fight for our freedom during that martial law period. And my father never went back to politics. Hanggang siya ay pumanaw noong 1987, talagang inialay na niya yung kanyang buhay sa pagtutulong sa mga biktima ng pang-aabuso. Malaking malaking effect sa akin yon. That made me even more determined to continue what he was doing. Kaya one of the first thing I did when I became a lawyer and took my oath was to join FLAG, the Free Legal Assistance Group. At sabi ko, ito na yung bahay ko. Ito na yung gusto kong gawin. Of course, I also handle other cases. May hawak din naman akong kaso para sa mga kumpanya at kung ano-ano mga iba't ibang mga issue. Pero ang bulk siguro sabihin natin ng mga nahawakan kong kaso ay talagang mga para sa ordinaryong Pilipino. And I like it that way. That was a choice I made from the start. And it's I haven't looked back. I'm very happy with my law practice. Thank you.
President Louie, wala kang audio.
How about now? May audio na ako?
Yan, okay. Pero louder, a little louder.
Tama yun, Pipi Santi. Chill tayo kay Chel. So good afternoon, Chel. So right off the bat, let me congratulate you on your platform, the soundness of your platform. By the way, I have started my online MCLE session for Chan Robles, and I enjoyed your lecture on effective legal writing and advanced cross-examination. But don't worry, I dare not apply your lectures on you. I will just be simply fielding some questions in the chat box. But before I do, let me ask this question. You have been special counsel to the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. Do you think investigations in aid of legislations are actually fishing expeditions that violates one's right against self-incrimination and supposedly disruptive of the executive department or any agency for that matter, in the sense that its officials cannot seem to focus on their work because of the continued hearings at the Blue Ribbon? With the recent standoff between the executive and the Senate Blue Ribbon chaired by Senator Richard Gordon, do you think the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee is just duplicating what the prosecutorial agencies or the Office of the Ombudsman ought to be doing?
Thank you for that question. Actually, there's a clear distinction between an investigation in aid of legislation and one what they would call in aid of election ba ang tatawagin natin doon. In fact, nagkaroon na yan ng mga desisyon ng ating Supreme Court na kung ang isang bagay ay talagang wala naman kinalaman sa pag-aayos ng batas o pagsasabatas ng bagong law, it's clearly not an authorized inquiry. Now, whether that is true in any investigation, case by case yan natin dedesisyonan yan. And ultimo, it's going to be the court that will make a decision whether that inquiry or investigation is really something that the Senate can do or the lower house can do or not. When it comes to issues, however, that involve the use of taxpayers' money, issues that involve the budget, issues that involve disbursements of the people's money, I do believe that these are issues that are within the jurisdiction of a Senate inquiry. Kasi marami naman tayong mga batas na kung halimbawa makita natin may butas na dapat aayusin. For example, one of the issues that came out in the recent investigation of Farmally was how does our government really work? How does the supply chain work in our government? Are there any loopholes there that have to be filled in to avoid what appears to be happening na meron nga mga issues about overpriced supplies and even issues of the quality of those. Yeah, we have to draw the line there, and it's very clear naman sa ating decisions na Supreme Court how and where we should draw the line.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So LCP Len, before I yield the floor to you, can I just throw the very first question in the chat box, no? So this comes from LCPK Covita.
LCP Louie, medyo mahina yung audio, please.
Okay, I'm going to the chat box before I yield again the floor to LCP Len. So first question from the chat box from K Covita of RCML. Good afternoon, Attorney Chel. I would just like to ask on how we can further encourage our youth to take a stance on the social injustice, including red tagging.
Thank you again for that question. I think that many of those in our youth sector, especially those who are in school, meaning in senior high or in college, are very much aware of the issues, especially the issues of red tagging. And they are also very active in terms of discussing and talking and promoting social issues. Pero ang tingin ko, hindi pa lahat ng kabataan ay ganyan. There are still many that we need to reach, especially those in remote areas, especially those who are out of school. Yun, kailangan din natin silang makausap at makapag-engage because they also are a substantial part of the youth sector. Tingin ko, for the last 2 years, I have been really engaging with our youth. Halos araw-araw ang natatanggap ko mga invitation galing sa kanila. I have met with our young people from all over the country. Umaabot na ako hanggang Zamboanga, other parts of Mindanao, and of course, parts of Luzon and the Visayas. And they are aware. Alam nila yung nangyayari. Meron silang pananaw at may gusto silang makita sana sa ating pamahalaan. I do believe that we will feel and hear their voices come 2022. Because even our electorate is getting younger and younger. They are now more than 53% of our registered voters. Kaya tingin ko mararamdaman natin sila pagdating sa Mayo ng 2022. Thank you.
Salamat po sa inyong sagot. Sisipundahan ko yung sa mga youth kasi isa rin po yan, Attorney Chel, sa mga areas of focus ng Rotary. So how can we Rotarians, for example po, along with our youth groups, o kaya yung aming mga youth programs, work together with legislators like you, to ensure na yung future naman nila ay mabibigyan ng prioridad. For instance, any words about legislating to level up our primary or secondary education status globally, sir?
Yes, thank you for that. And just FYI lang, I am very open. I would like to and love to hear from all of you, especially if you have any proposals for our youth. And on my end, I really think that we have to reevaluate our educational system, given that we are now in a pandemic. Kasi mukhang meron tayong disconnect between the jobs that our schooling will create based on past and the jobs that our country needs today and in the coming years. Kung ang mga nag-aaral ngayon ay pre-pandemic yan, syempre ang pinili nilang mga kurso noon ay mga kurso na sa tingin nila noon ay makakapagbigay sa kanila ng trabaho pag sila ay nakapagtapos na. But all of that has changed. For example, many of our youth are employed in the services sector. That would encompass not just food and beverage industry, but other services as well. Pero sila yung natamaan ng mga lockdown. Sila yung mga nagsara ng mga kumpanya. Kaya sobrang taas nga yung ating youth unemployment dahil dyan eh. So we will have to revisit our educational system as well. We would have to find ways to reorient or retrain our graduates so that they can still find good work even in a pandemic. While some industries have gone down, other industries have gone up. So kailangan ang tutok natin doon sa mga industriyang iyon that have become more important because of COVID-19. Thank you.
I think evolving rin yung education globally. So kailangan maka-keep up talaga tayo. No? So, ano nga ba talaga ang dapat nating pag-aralan mula primary hanggang sa kolehiyo? Kasi yung iba talented talaga, Attorney Chel, di ba? Na minsan hindi naman talaga degree ang para sa kanila. Hindi itong mga vocational courses. And highly skilled sila. Nahagdaan na sila magtrabaho after the grade 12.
Meron din sana po akong proposal na ma-incorporate natin sa ating basic education ang voters education and citizenry, the aspects of being a Filipino citizen. Ano bang mga tungkulin natin bilang mamamayang Pilipino? Kasi kung maipaabot natin at maisaloob na natin sa kanila yan habang sila ay bata pa, it will be much, much easier. Part of the problem we are facing in our elections is also a problem of voters education. Na marami pa rin hindi nila na gets yung kahalagahan ng kanilang pagboboto.
Tama po. Partners, isisingit ko lang itong tanong ni Miss Mary Lou Bellarmino. Si Miss Mary Lou ay kabahagi o kasama ng ating RCC Pateros. Ang RCC po, Attorney Chel, ito yung aming Rotary Community Corps. So sila po yung mga, kumbaga, connection namin sa community. Meron siyang panibugho dito ng slide. Ang sabi niya, good afternoon po. Ask ko lang po, paano po ba magagaranti na you will help those poor people. We all know some people, they promise to help and time will come, pag nanalo na, they never help those poor people. They used to help those people whom they like to help lang. Yan. Paano po, Attorney Chel? Sige.
Well, I think my track record of serving the people speaks for itself. I don't want to do what other politicians do and promise you heaven and earth, but I can promise you that I will do everything I can and continue working the way I have been working for the last 30 plus years for the benefit of our people. Malaking bagay sa akin at ito ay siguro nanggaling din sa mga itinuro ng aking mga ninuno, yung aking lolo at tatay at lolo sa tuhod, na walang kapalit ang pagmamahal sa inang bayan. Palagay ko sa dugo namin ng mga Diokno, nananalaytay na yan yung pagmamahal sa inang bayan. And I will never ever turn my back on our country. And when I say that means that I am determined to really live a life of public service. Thank you.
Okay.
Santi, meron ka ba?
Meron akong natanggap na tanong dito. Attorney Chel, when you win your Senate seat, I did not say if, I said when. Ano yung unang batas na gusto mong ipapasa? Anong legislative proposal in brief ang gusto mong mapasa ng Senado?
Ako, marami tayong gustong gawin. I think ang unang prioridad kasi natin itong issues sa pag-manage ng pandemya. And I think it will require, number one, that we look at the budget, we provide fiscal stimulus to our MSMEs. They really, really need it. Hindi na sapat yung ino-offer ngayon ng mga loans lang galing sa ating pamahalaan. Talagang naghihikaos na sila and without any kind of fiscal stimulus, they will not be able to survive. So that's one. The second is we need to make sure that we have a good pandemic management body. At tulad na nabanggit ko kanina, maganda siguro kung isabatas na natin yan. Pangatlo, ito naman, hindi naman ito kailangan ng legislation, pero kailangan we have to really up our vaccination rate. That will be a call that I definitely will make together with my long-term goals of strengthening the barangay justice system and removing business disputes from the courts to speed up the courts and to make better justice for everyone. Actually, medyo mahaba yung aking legislative agenda. Meron din akong issues na gustong isulong tungkol sa health, both physical and mental health. Meron din akong issues pagdating sa ating yung community-based universal healthcare law and the other laws that surround both issues of mental and physical health. Pero it will require, of course, a lot of, let's say, working together with the other legislators who win. Kaya sana ang mahalal natin ay mga progresibong mga legislador. Thank you.
As I follow up, no, so meron kang magandang mga plano and you will be one out of 24 brilliant minds, so to speak, in the Senate, although not so brilliant yung iba. But that's beside the point. The question is, you said my record speaks for itself kanina. Sinabi mo yung naging track record mo as a proponent of human rights, advocate for the poor when it comes to their legal requirements and everything. But truth to tell, Attorney Chel, kahit kilala ang pangalan mong Diokno, yung Chel hindi masyadong sikat eh. How do you intend to get your message across to 16 million voters and get into the Magic 12? Anong programa mo to make sure yung mga advocacies mo are fully understood and accepted and supported by majority of the voters in this election?
Well, I hope that all of you who are here can help spread the word as far as my platform is concerned and what I want to do. Ako mismo and yung aking team ay handang-handa na kami both in terms of making use of social media platforms and the broader airwaves on radio and television to get our message across. Medyo limited kasi ang space natin ngayon to move around on the ground. Until it's safer and clearer, I don't think we will be able to do much campaigning in person. So we will have to really maximize the use of our social media platforms and radio and television as well to really reach as wide as we can. Actually, in that respect, I believe I have some advantages over some of the other candidates because I have a very robust comms team, and we have been doing a lot of work on TikTok, on YouTube, and the other social media platforms. At tuloy-tuloy yon, we will not stop doing that. In fact, we intend to intensify that. Yung mga ibang areas naman na tingin namin talagang kailangan ng physical presence ko, ay pupuntahan ko yan. I am determined. Ako'y handang-handa na umikot na rin kung kailangan. We just have to make sure that it is maximized and optimal and also safe. Thank you.
Siguro, Pipi Santi, one way of probably also expanding the reach of Attorney Chel would be how he will respond to this question from classmate Nora of RC Nara Central. Ito ang tanong niya, Attorney Chel, how will you help the out-of-school youths, especially the lost, the last, and the least out-of-school youth, out-of-school adult, and out-of-school children? So basically, yung mga hindi nakakapasok na yon.
That's so true. And we really must provide them with the, not just help. Tingin ko hindi tulong ang kailangan nila. Ang kailangan nila empowerment. Ang kailangan nila ay mabigyan sila ng sapat na kaalaman para sila na mismo ang mag-aangat sa buhay nila at sa buhay ng kanilang mga pamilya. We are losing so much from our out-of-school youth because they are not productive members of our society, and some of them even turn to crime or to other pursuits that are not helpful to the society. So we have to find a way to redirect them into more productive pursuits and to becoming real members of our society who really believe and feel they are part of our country. Yun yung isang nakikita kong nakakalungkot na parang sobrang naging divisive tayo at hindi na naging inclusive. Nakakalimutan natin na marami pa tayong mga kapatid na talagang nangangailangan ng tulong, at hindi lang tulong kundi we need to give them the skills and the training, the resources they need to be able to uplift their lives and to be really a part of our country.
Salamat doon, Attorney Chel. Medyo ikakambyo ko yung tanong kasi medyo may bias ako sa health at Attorney Chel kasi sa doon ng aking sektor. Kanina naulibigan ko yung mga issues mo sa health at gusto kong i-clarify yung mga issues na yon. So may dalawa lang akong agenda para sa tanong nito. May na-mention ka kasi kanina, sabi mo gusto mong mag-focus sa mga bungi o bulok ang ngipin, no? How can we push, support oral health to be at par with other health conditions under the universal health care, no? Kasi parang laging nasasantabi ang oral health.
That's so true. I think we need to empower communities. We need to bring it down. We need to have more health education in the communities and reorient our health services so that it's not based entirely on doctors and hospitals. Kasi di ba yung lalo na dahil sa COVID-19, ang naging tutok talaga ng healthcare system natin ay doktor at hospital, which is understandable because of the virus. But looking at our situation in the long term, we have to have more empowered communities and health systems in the community level. Actually, yun ang purpose ng Universal Healthcare Law. Yun lang, ang question na lang sa Universal Healthcare Law, maganda na nga yung legal framework natin, paano i-implement? Kasi nga yung their basis for the funds that were going to be used was pre-pandemic. At kailangan balikan natin yan at tingnan natin saan bang magiging valid source of funds yung maipopondo natin yung Universal Healthcare Law.
Tama, Attorney. Actually, ako po ay isa at kabahagi din sa Community Health Development Program ng University of the Philippines, Manila. At yan ang aming isinisigaw, para sa amin, ang frontliners ay yung ating mga nasa barangay. Huwag na nating paratingin sa ospital yung mga pasyente, households at saka barangay health units talaga. So, isa po ba to sa mga tututukan nyo na para maging batas pag kayo po ay naupo?
Definitely. Opo.
Salamat po, at yan po ang gusto namin talaga, to empower our barangay health workers. So, Pipi Santi, meron ka bang tanong kay Atty.
Yeah, I got this other text about the so-called historical revisionism. Marami sa atin, although bata pa nung martial law, hindi kagaya namin na kasama sa mga nahagupit sa rally sa UP Diliman. Pero ang tanong dito, alam naman natin yung totoo. Pero unfortunately, 9 out of 10 na tinanong ko sa mga nagbebenta sa kalye, mga nagdi-deliver na Grab, lagi na lang sinasabi, the Marcos years is the golden years. Since you are part of the opposition, since you are part of the Diokno lineage na lumaban sa Marcos years, how do you resolve this issue in your campaign? Paano mo magiging kasama sa agenda yung issue ng history ng martial law na hindi ka makaka-alienate ng ibang mga botante na alam mo namang pabor na pabor sa Marcos family. Hindi ba mahirap balansehin yan, Attorney Diokno?
Magiging challenge talaga yan. But at the same time, I can never compromise or sacrifice the truth and what really happened during that time. Alam niyo, nung pinag-aralan namin itong issue, na-realize namin na this was a very deliberate plan that started about 20 years ago. In the years 2000s, 2005 to 2010, we began witnessing this phenomenon of really slick, well-produced videos coming out on YouTube, portraying the Marcos times as the golden years. And even if there were a few voices in the wilderness who started talking about it, we were really drowned out. I was one of the few, together with a few of my friends who were journalists, who noticed this, and we began to speak out about it. Pero wala talagang tuloy-tuloy at ang laki ng ginastos nila para gawin yan. At ang talagang tinarget nila ay yung mga millennials, the young people of that time who are now older already. And sad to say, they were successful in pushing that kind of historical revisionism. By the time the majority of us who had experienced martial law woke up, we were already behind the line. At kailangan magdo-double time tayo ngayon para ma-push back naman natin yung ganun nga, yung mga fake news at historical revisionism na kumalat mula noon hanggang ngayon. I do believe, however, that it is a doable thing, and it is also, I think we are able to do this even without having to alienate voters, but simply by first focusing on the shared values that we have, and which include actually the virtue of truth and honesty. At palagi ko, wala naman may gusto nung bumoto sa isang kandidato na sinungaling, lalong-lalo na kung siya ay magiging professional liar. So that is probably the best approach, one of the approaches we can use to stave off this historical revisionism. Thank you.
Okay, I wish to take off from the question posted by classmate Emmy Pulido. No, she's asking because her memory is probably failing her. If you did run during the last elections, and I know you did, Attorney Chel, what makes this this electoral exercise different from the last time that you ran, that you made that unsuccessful bid to be one of the senators? And given the fact that you are competent and most able to really serve as one of the senators, one of the elected officials, but then how different or how optimistic are you now that you might be able, or you would be able to land the seat in the Senate?
Well, I'm very optimistic because I think the situation is vastly different from 2019. In the first place, noong 2019, talagang newbie ako. Wala akong kaalam-alam sa politika. And I decided late. So we were scrambling from day one. Wala kaming ground crews, wala kaming network sa ground. Our comms people were also new. We were just getting used to the landscape and to the environment. And I'm very happy to say that despite our inadequacies and despite my lack of experience, we were still able to get roughly 6.3 million and ranked somewhere in the area of 20 or 21 among all the senatorial candidates. That is despite also having a absolutely meager budget, because it was really difficult for a candidate like me to raise funds. But the situation today is so different. In the first place, noong 2019, midterm election yun eh. So alam ng mga local officials na pag magalit ang Malacanang sa kanila, may 3 taon ang Malacanang para pag-initan sila. Walang ganyan ngayon. Second, in terms of my own team, I now have a very well-experienced team. We have a network on the ground that is very extensive. I can say that we've managed to reach all the regions in the country. We have, I believe, around over 13,000, mukhang nasa 14,000 na ang volunteers na nag-sign up for the Diokno campaign. And I have a wonderful, absolutely wonderful team that is helping me run this campaign. Other than that, the whole situation has changed. Na dumating na nga yung pandemic, dumating yung issues about how government has been managing the pandemic, and that has made a lot of people speak up who were otherwise quiet before. Yung tinatawag nila dating silent majority, tingin ko ngayon ay maingay na eh. At napapansin na rin natin na medyo nag-iiba na ang ihip ng hangin. Kaya ako, I'm very optimistic about what will happen in 2022, especially since there were a lot of young people who felt very sad and left out in 2019 because while they supported some of the progressive candidates like me, yung iba, hindi pala sila registered o yung iba, hindi naman pala nakaboto. But from my own engagement with them, they are very much determined to make their voices heard in 2022. Palagay ko, isa rin yun na malaking factor that will make a difference in the coming elections. Thank you.
Attorney Chel, are you still ready for some one or two questions?
Sure.
On a lighter note, Attorney Chel, nakatanggap ako ng Viber announcement na nagre-raise sila ng funds for you. Tapos, ang ibinebenta nila, masarap daw na red wine. Ito ba, mahilig talaga sa red wine?
Actually, there was a very, very kind entrepreneur who, as his donation parang to the campaign, parang tulong din niya sa amin, has been so generous in providing us with the wine that we are now using to raise funds.
Maraming Attorney Chel, maraming Rotarian ang sigurado bibili niyang wines na yan dahil yan ang namimiss namin sa mga Rotary meetings, yung red wine.
Yeah, okay.
Tama yun.
That's a happy note.
Happy note yan talaga. Ina-advertise ko yung red wine na yan. Sa
salamat.
So,
Ipapadala natin kay Rafi yung aming poster so that if anyone wants to order.
Si Attorney Rafi, bibilhin lahat yan, yung wine na yan pagka binigay mo sa kanya.
Alam mo, Pipi Santi, I'm waiting for this question to be asked, no? But I'm just holding it. It's from experience kasi nabanggit ni Attorney Chel na napakatagal yung ating justice system, no? Yung resolution ng mga cases. Binabasa ko doon sa, yung turnaround dapat ng isang kaso na civil case. It should be not more than 180 days. Tama ba yun? 90 days, 180 days.
Yes.
May alam akong kaibigan, may gitnang 3 taon, nagdemanda ng libel case na sigurado namang libelous, no? Okay? Hanggang ngayon, mahigit ng almost 4 years, hindi pa nare-resolve ng regional trial court. Sigurado yan pagkatapos na, halimbawa, matalo yung other party, no? Okay? Na aakyat niya yan doon sa Court of Appeals. At pag natalo palalo, aakyat sa Supreme Court, no? So, mangyayari niyan, okay? Halos makakalimutan na lang nung nagdemanda at wala na. How can we resolve this problem na injustice?
Yes, one of the reasons why justice is so slow in our country is because we sorely lack judges. 20% ng ating mga pwesto sa judge sa lower courts ay bakante. 1 out of 5 salas has no judge. 34% of our prosecutor positions are also vacant. So kung ang ating justice system ay parang ospital yan, kulang ka ng doktor, kulang ka ng nurse, araw-araw may bagong pasyente pumapasok, hindi niya talaga makakayanan na magdispensa ng maayos na hustisya na mabilis. That is exactly where we are now. And it's sad that it's not even being discussed. Baka, I think for most of you, ngayon nyo lang nalaman na kulang tayo ng judge at kulang tayo ng
that's a surprise.
prosecutor. Yes. And why is that? Why is it that way? Bakit sobrang kulang tayo ng judge at prosecutor? Because in the first place, we have a congested appointment system. The appointing power is all in one hand. Nasa Pangulo kasi lahat ng appointing power dyan for judges, justices, and prosecutors. Pero ang Pangulo natin, napakaraming ginagawa yan. So isipin nyo, sa dami ng mga trabaho niya, he has to also decide who he will appoint to the thousands of positions that are vacant. We have to find a way to speed up the appointing system and to ensure at the same time na hindi na maayos ang mga i-appoint na talagang may integridad at hindi sila magkakaroon ng utang na loob sa appointing authority. That is a big challenge for us. But I think we can overcome the challenge. Number one, gawin natin mas transparent at mas mabilis ang Judicial and Bar Council sa kanilang pagpo-process ng mga nominees. Pangalawa, it is possible for the President, for example, to create a small group within the Office of the President that will quickly vet and recommend para naman maayos agad yung pag-a-appoint nila. The other issue that we have in terms of the judiciary, kaya rin sobrang bagal ang paglilitis ng kaso, is ang lalaki kasi ng jurisdiction ng courts natin. Kung halimbawa, mapalakas natin yung barangay justice system para hindi na umabot sa court ang kaso ng mga magkakabarangay o magkasyudad, that is one way to decongest the dockets. The other way is to remove business cases and other kinds of disputes from the courts and make it through arbitration. That way, bibilis ang kaso dahil gagaan ang load ng mga judge natin. So it's a multi-pronged approach to making sure that we can speed up the cases. Tama po yung nabanggit nyo, under the continuous trial system, dapat within 180 days usually matapos na dapat ang kaso. Pero hindi talaga nagagawa eh.
Attorney Chel, kailangan pa ba ng legislation yan? Yung mga panukala mo na yan? Or executive actions?
Well, kung sa Judicial and Bar Council, hindi naman kailangan pa ng legislation yan. Pero it will require political will. And there must be also transparency in terms of how they will choose the shortlist. Di ba? 5 ang nasa shortlist dyan sa bawat pwesto.
Alam niyo, Attorney Chel, maraming mga Rotary past presidents and current presidents na lawyers. Gusto nila mag-apply to fill up yung mga prosecutor positions, etc. Brad Louie, baka interesado ka dyan. Pipi Rapi.
Tingin ko, meron po ako isang gustong isulong dyan na sa law school pa lang, we create already a channel for lawyers who want to become judges. Tuturuan na natin sila maging judge habang nasa law school pa lang. So tuturuan natin sila mag-manage ng court docket, magsulat ng court decision, and then may additional units sila sa pag-aaral nila. But if they pass the bar, at least they already have the minimum qualifications needed to how to run a court. And then ang kailangan din natin dyan ay na i-recognize yung kanilang specialization na yan and to ask the Judicial and Bar Council na i-consider sila as a priority in terms of appointing judges para maging career na talaga yung pagiging judge tulad sa ibang bansa.
Okay, maraming salamat po for your very frank and forthright responses. Na cool, no? Relax kayo. Although yung mga tanong talaga very sharp, talagang medyo minsan from my perspective, sabi ko baka mainis ito sa Attorney Chel sa mga tanong. Pero hindi nyo pinalabas yan na minanage yung maigi yung mga responses nyo. So are there any other questions from the panelists?
PP Harold,
Para-
if we
yeah.
PP Harold, if ever we're going to end the open forum, I suggest we end it in a light note, and only because the district legal counsel might sue us for not answering his question, for not asking his question. Attorney
Okay.
Chel, this is a question from your
The
friend
most
Attorney
important
Rafi
question.
Aquino. Ang tanong ni Attorney Rafi Aquino, Attorney Chel, is this: how long did it take you to earn your black belt in Aikido?
Oh, wow. It took
Malalim
me,
yung tanong na yan.
Malalim,
Oo.
sobrang lalim nga eh.
it took me about 8 years of continuous training to secure my black belt. At saludong-saludo ako sa aking teacher, si Sensei Ernie Talag. Kung meron pa sa inyong interesado dyan, I know he still teaches. He's based in Ugong, Pasig. And let me know, I can refer you to him.
Well, maraming salamat. I think because of the time constraints, I know that there are other questions that are being posted. Rest assured that we will forward this to the Office of Attorney Chel so that they can respond to your questions. Okay. Now, before we call on the lady of the house, no, so to speak, may I request our chairperson of RVOTE to award our certificate of or recognition to Attorney Chair PP Nenet, please. Your audio, please. Your audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Where is it? Where can I read the?
I will request PP Nenet Siniero and our district governor
Read. Asan yung ano?
to grant the certificate of appreciation.
Yeah. Where's the certificate, please? Can you?
Rachel.
Oh, here it is. I can't see it though. I can't. See it. It's so small.
Maybe you can share screen.
I can read it for you if you want.
Thank you, Governor. Can you?
I'm wearing 4 eyes, so I can read it for you. So this certificate of appreciation is presented to Attorney Jose Manuel Chel Diokno, our distinguished speaker for this afternoon, for sharing his time and knowledge on the subject of peace, the youth, and justice with a Rotary District 3830 RVOTE Education Initiative held today, October 27. It is signed by yours truly and the chair, Nanette Aseniero. Thank you on behalf of District.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We will send it as fast as we can. After we frame it, that's the certificate as shown in the screen.
Ang hirap pala.
Again, maraming salamat po, Attorney Chel, no? And now, friends, Rotarians, Rotaractors, and Friends of Rotary, in keeping up with the tradition of the Rotary Club Makati Belcair, the last speaker and the last word is always coming from a woman of the club. And to deliver the closing statement, please give your big hand to our RVOTE District Chair, 3830, Past President Nanette Aseniero.
Thank you. Thank you, VP Harold. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Am I okay?
Loud and clear.
RVOTE's vision is good governance and citizen empowerment. Words, words, and words. We all know what these words mean, and they mean nothing. Nothing, unless what we learned today and in the previous RVOTE sessions are taken to mind and heart. And it should not stop there. It should not only stay with us. Thank you, Attorney Chel. the younger brother of my friend, for facing us today with your story, what you know, and what you can do for us, and much for those in the margins of society. Thank you for bravely offering your services to the Filipino people at your own risk. And there will be more men like you. It will be up to us, representatives of the 3-5% of the population, to know the difference between the good and the bad, the sincere and insincere, the honest and the liar, the leader and the puppet. And it is so important that we should know, feel, and sniff the difference. I'm very sad that one group earlier decided to pull out of co-hosting our vote this afternoon. Well, they're just being cautious, I suppose, because we will be talking politics. And they have, well, in so many words, alluded to our partisanship. Our vote is non-partisan. Time and again, in 2010 and 2016 elections, we have repeated this and proved it. We did not campaign for any color, party, or creed. But during the launch of our vote this September, I was convinced otherwise. We are not nonpartisan. We are partisan. We are for our families, for our communities, for our country. Tayo ay para sa taong bayan. Ang boto natin ay para sa taong bayan. Ang boto natin ay para sa ating kinabukasan. That is why it is so important that we know the truth from the lie, the priorities from the inconsequential, the conversation from the babble, and the genuine generosity from the masked greed. The Our Vote Forum is a tiny, tiny step to achieve our vision. Our learnings should not stay with us. Sana makaabot ito sa mga Grab drivers na halos araw-araw nagde-deliver sa atin. Sa ka-chat natin, sa Messenger, sa Viber, sa friends mo, sa Facebook, at sa Instagram. At kung mamarapatin na makalabas sa grocery helper, sa sales lady, o kaya sa mga suki natin na magugulay at magkakarne sa palengke. They could use more of our knowledge than us. The 90% of the population, they suffer more than us because they have been blinded and cheated for so long of their right to a good life. Let us spread the gospel of Rotary. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it bring goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And I hear you all say, yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Our vote returns this November with more candidates we can learn from. Remember, what we learn in voter education, we do not keep. Our vote is para sa taong bayan. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat at maraming salamat again, Attorney Chel.
Maraming salamat, my idol, Vice President Danette. Tumatayo yung aking balahibo at medyo teary-eyed ako sa iyong closing statement. And now, to reinforce our desire sa our vote, let us hear at ating pong panuorin at pakinggan ang isang madamdamin din tula. Bukas lastiko na sinulat ni Attorney Tabi Andunuevo at binigyang buhay ni Past President Jack Chutico of the Rotary Club of Makati, Philippines.
Ang buhay nating mga Pilipino, tila baga isa lamang lastiko. Pilit binabaltak upang mabago, isang pitik lang babalik sa dulo. Lingunin natin ating nakaraan, tanawin natin ang kinabukasan. Ang pagitan nito'y kasalukuyan, naging kapalaran, ating husgahan. Mainam pa yata naging kabuhayan bago nagsidating ang mga dayuhan. Bagman ang ating naging kasuotan, nalasak naman natin ang kasarilan. Dumaong tayo sa ating dalampasigan ang ekspedisyon nitong si Magellan. Bagamat tayo ay kanyang lihinyagan, nalublog tayo sa kamangmangan. 300 taon ang nakalipas, Kastila ay sumuko at napalayas. Pumalit ang Amerikanong magilas, kayamanan ng bansa ay nawaldas. Aming bayani ang namatay upang makamit ang ating tagumpay. Sa pag-asang bubuti itong buhay, kapag sariling bandilay nawagayway. Subalit tila ating ipinagkanuno ang ipinaglaban ng ating ninuno. Nang walang tutol natin isinuko ang kapalaran natin sa politiko. Iba't ibang uri ng pamumuno ang natikman natin mga Pilipino. Mayroong ginamit lakas ng kamao, may di utak ang nanaig, kundi puso. Karamihan sa kanila ay nalango, nasilaw sa kapangyarihan at ginto. Di na inalintana ang pagbabago, kundi pagpapalawig ng termino. Lahat na ng sigalot ating natamo, gutom, sakit, sunog, droga at bagyo. Ngunit pinakamasakit sa Pilipino ang mga salantang dulot ng politiko. Tayo'y ginawang mistulang lastiko, hinihila tayo ng parot parito, hindi mawari saan tayo tutugo, sunod-sunuran tila maamong kordero. Alalan na naman ang nakaamba sa atin, panahon na upang taimtim nating limiin. Tamang politiko ngayon ay dapat piliin. Ginto ang pagkakataon, huwag nating sayangin. Mahabang karanasan ay ating lingunin. Buhay na lastiko ay atin ang lagutin. Pumili ng tama, boto ay huwag sayangin. Ng tunay na kalayaan, ating abutin.
Wow! Maraming salamat, Past President Jack Chutico, at ating pong palawagin ang kaalaman dito sa darating na eleksyon. Our vote, our future. Our future. Now, thank you very much. Maraming salamat uli kay Attorney Chel Diokno. A round of applause, please. Virtual clap, everyone. And then we'd like to thank everybody again for attending this, wonderful. I'm very excited. Okay. Do you think, if you agree with me, please type 1. If you agree that this afternoon was well spent and had been delightful. If you agree with me, please type 1 in the chat box. No? We'd like to know that you are still there. Before we call our life-changing President Cory Navarro, who was unanimously selected, to call this meeting to end and adjourn accordingly. So LCP na Cory. Oh, I can see a lot of number 1 in the chat box. Okay, thank you for agreeing that this is really a very important, delightful, at magandang araw na na-manage natin. Thank you everyone. We're still ahead of schedule, 10 minutes before 6. Okay, LCP Cory.
Okay, on behalf of my fellow life-changing presidents, I hereby adjourn this meeting.
Okay, maraming salamat. You may now
Thank you.
unmute the mic so we can have some fellowship for about
Thank
10
you.
minutes. Maraming salamat ating district